For this one, we have definitely an amazing speaker, someone who's definitely incredible. So we're definitely moving on to that. Give a big round of applause and welcome to Burnett's Middle East Honorary Chairman and Advisor to the Board, Farid Chehab. Make some noise for that, please, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, you guys, a little bit louder. Make some noise for that.
Good morning. Welcoming just after Steve Harvey is quite humbling, so I don't know what to do. So I'm gonna try to do my best. First, I want to thank the Lynx organization and all the sponsors and the Schwere Group to have given me the opportunity to do this presentation. This presentation is about building bridges over the 21st century. It's not comedy. It's about hard facts. And I want to start by saying that our era is an era of total disruption. When I say disruption, I talk about a phenomenon which has never happened to humankind, whereby evolution used to happen through clashes with with natural things happening. Actually, artificial intelligence and digital is adding a new paradigm for evolution. What does this mean? This means that the curve of techno progress is going to start going quite asymptotic, almost vertical, whereby our adaptation will not follow as quickly as technical progress will happen. So the gap will start widening, and we will come back to that later in the presentation. So what I like to say, if you want to immerse into what it means that today's world looks like a jungle. Living in a jungle, to start with, what did we do to live in a jungle when we were primitive? We were curious, because we had to be curious, because we had to see all over what was happening to understand and be able to survive. We were cooperative. There was cooperation. Cooperation was essential. And today, cooperation becomes even more essential if we want to carry on being able to fight and survive. Needless to say, through communication, we started inventing art. So art and communication work hand in hand. That's why art is not very far from our jobs of being communicators. And then, obviously, we were creative. Primitive man was totally creative. They were in the mode of creativity all the time, and that was the key for survivability. So these four givens, which are curiosity, communication, cooperation, and creativity, become essentials in our new jungle, which is the world today. Actually, this is how we reached to become the Neanderthal man. And that's how, later, we moved to become Homo sapiens. Today, we are Homo sapiens. But what is our future as Homo sapiens? Today, already, people are talking about Homo Deus. Homo Deus, I don't know, I will quote Honorary for that. He wrote a very famous book. Homo Deus actually is what we call the future augmented man, human. But already today, Homo Deus is existing, somewhere all around in all the digital hotspots where the scientists and those who are really, the geeks, are really inventing a new world. They are already there, whereby we are still here, not there yet to access to them. We're starting, but it's going to take some time. So the future will be, as you will see, the Homo Deus future. Actually, to illustrate the thought, the result of that is somehow said by Jack Ma, who talks about 2030 as being the loss of 800 million jobs around the world. So imagine what it means to lose 800 million jobs. 800 million jobs mean that if you count 5 people one head, this means 4 million people who are going to be threatened by job loss. So imagine why I am saying jungle. Imagine how difficult it is going to be to face. Now, I'm not going to start doing a doomsday storyteller, but it's just to create awareness of what it takes. Now, when I go 2030, just to put a frame of mind of time, if your kid is 10 years old now, in 10 years' time, he will be 20, he's going to access the job market. So this is what he's going to face. So imagine how much preparing him for that becomes important. Obviously, if your kid is 2 years old now, in 2040, when he will be 20, then the curve of technology would have been even steeper for him to absorb and to adapt. So coming back to the world today, very quickly, we're going to face very soon hydrogen fusion energy. You're going to face quantum computing. We're going to face genetic engineering. We're going to face nanotechnology, 3D printing. You all know that. I don't need to explain to you you are all aware of those things. Internet of Things is going to be even more and more progressing in our daily life. This means what? It means that you need to forget everything you know. There is a new way to think, feel, live, and act. That's the reality of time today. And this, when I talk about that, it's not far from our communication industry. Now I'm shifting to talk really about us, who are all of us in the communication business. This revolution, this paradigm shift in the thinking is gonna hit us, is hitting us face on. So the essence of what I will try to explain here is what are we going to do to be able to survive in the coming jungle. Actually, immediately, I will tell you that the mother of all ideas in what we are concerned is to be able to brand build in social media. Today, we are all challenged with brand building in social media. Are we up to it today? I would say no, we are not there yet. Nobody has been able to really build a brand. As you know, you are all familiar with social media. Fame comes and goes. Success is elusive. People are distracted. Their span of attention is very short. It's difficult. The time where advertising and communication were emperors, were creating images, were creating beautiful things on stable media is done. Today, everybody is sitting on his screen, do not have the patience, and zap off to something else. So it's becoming very difficult. So our new field, where our new challenges are going to be, are what you see, all the GAFA. So this is really where we need to start sitting and thinking in depth. Actually, as creatives, the biggest creatives today in the new era, in the new age, are those who are creating applications. These are the new creatives. Every day you see a new application coming, and they are successful, they are financially off, they are doing their startups, they are becoming the new millionaires. But these people belong to the digital arena, not, unfortunately, the communication arena. How many communication gurus have we got today to reach this level of fame? Unfortunately, we are on the defensive. We're not there yet. What we need to, because we are basically marketers, what we need to start with is to envisage that more and more we're going to face online purchase challenge. When you talk about online purchasing is really blurring, totally blurring, all what we feel we know. Because people online will not perceive an image, will not perceive a value in this new arena where they buy online. because they are restricted to screen and to numbers and to offers, and more products that used to have some quality, some added value, some quality value in them are reduced to a minimal. So you understand how much we need to think differently in this arena. What I mean here is we really need to break the idiom. Breaking the idiom means what? It means that we have to absorb, not to apply what we have learned in our classical communication world. We have to think differently. We cannot create and apply to digital. We need to sit in the digital screen, in the digital arena, and from there start thinking how we can create. Which brings me to an essential point, which will be, I think, values. Let me tell you why values. Today, the consumer today is becoming, in one way, as I said, undisciplined, elusive, short-sighted, short span, with a very strong materialistic eagerness to spend, to consume, to play, and to become, hedonist, to become a deep hedonist. That's what we are today. But at the same time, what is growing in him is a sort of cynicism of all what we think used to be important for him. New consumer do not believe in anything anymore. What he wants is the immediacy of things. He wants to start thinking immediately. He wants to have something that he had in mind immediately at his reach. He is not patient with us. He is not patient to listen. His mindset is like that. So put yourself in his place and look at the mindset that we have and start thinking about one thing which has been our vehicle for centuries, which was added value. What is our business? It's about added value. Actually, added value helped capitalism to grow. We used to invent images, we used to invent things, we used to invent dreams, and that was vehiculating the power of the brand. And it worked for us. And we were emperors for 100 years. Today, it's not the same anymore. People will not believe anymore in just added value. People today want to have real value. So, by real value, explaining this looks like what Facebook is doing, for instance. They are the new missionaries. When you look at Facebook, you see that Facebook, for instance, is trying now not only to spread accessibility, they want to spread accessibility to all the world. They are inventing new vehicles to be able to have internet access to every far region of the world. So they are going into a real value mission, which is, okay, internet for everyone. It goes the same with Google, for instance. Google today is working on two things: extending life, talking about old age, extending age, and in a way, another way, trying to work, they are working on automated electric cars. What the hell? Why do they have to do that? Why do they have to create electric cars? Because they are Google, after all. They are doing that because I think that they want to buy a share of heart and a share of mind from their people. Although they don't need it, they are discovering that slowly they are forced to be the new missionaries, hence coming to the value proposition. And coming back to what we were talking about, the new creative mindset with the new age online habit. To grasp this new mindset, we really need to start thinking. We used to think holistic. Obviously, the word holistic has always been the case in all what we do. But today, holisticism takes a far bigger dimension. Holisticism today must touch all the aspects of one proposition. Let's take an example like environmental value. If we pick up environmental value, what does holisticism mean today? If I have a client and I want to tell him, listen, if you want to look good in the heart of people in the world, you starting taking care of what I call a higher purpose value. Imagine that we are picking up environmental, for instance. If I am a corporation and I have a lot of brands next to me, rather than depending on me, rather than trying to tell the corporation, you have to do some CSR, for instance. You need to create for this corporation something so focused that people in the world, when they are online, will still have in mind that the corporation is becoming a super brand. A brand that really cares, that really have a mission, a higher purpose mission, which is, for instance, here, I'll take an example, a mission statement which could be eventually like, let's say, fighting poverty. If this super brand has got a fighting poverty mission, then all his brands underneath him can be used to develop aspects of how you can fight poverty. That's the sort of thing that you could do. So every one of any aspect of our activity as a super brand will be used. One, for instance, to develop education, the other one to try to open opportunity for startups, another one to do some investment to help micro economy to grow. And when you add up all these activities, you ultimately realize that this super brand is becoming a big brand that is equal to the GAFA brands. And today, all the big corporations are not as big as the 7 or the 6 GAFA. No, they are still very small in front of them. And this, in a way, is not touching everyone, it's touching also our industry ourselves. We are part of that, and this is really where we really need to start thinking that that's the way we have to gear our propositions in the future. I will explain that a little bit later. Other areas of values that we have to think of, we could talk also about economy. Today, capitalism is in dear need of evolution. You are seeing what is happening in France today, what we call the Gilets jaunes. The Gilets jaunes is an offspring of the new social media democracy. This is an example of where social media is reflecting on people's attitude. So this is something, economy is becoming the true value. We don't need to have added value. We can divert and convince some of our super brands to start caring about economy for people. This is what new people of the world are in need today. Another value that you could think of is personal data. We all know how much personal data is becoming a protection, is becoming a threat for freedom and so on. This is an area where we can pick up a value and start becoming the champions of it, to put it at the service of our brands. Another value is human rights. And you know that today we are more and more living in 1984 Orwellian world where, you know, face recognition is gonna take us to make of us codes, not more. So human rights is another way where we can reshuffle a new spirit and associate our brand with it. Education is another one. Remember what I told you. When we are 10 years old, or when the kid is 2 years old, education becomes today essential for the young generation to be able to cope in the future with, in 10 years' time, the revolution, the paradigm shift happening to him in the world markets. Another big value in this case I would talk about is tolerance. Why did I put tolerance in that? Today, brand Dubai is thinking this way. Brand Dubai has picked up a higher purpose mission. Actually, they are an expression of tolerance. And the country all the country is geared toward that, and they are really acting to be tolerant. So it's a good inspiration for us, because out of this tolerance, which looks like an ideology, like a virtue, is commercially helping Dubai to become what it is today. So that's the sort of frame of mind that I'm talking about. Actually, when we talk tolerance, it's not only talking about Dubai as well. Today, a world insight is the fact that people are more and more unease with the way they are living. They are afraid of what is happening. Today, the world is becoming more and more intolerant. Today, fundamentalism is growing all over. Nowadays, hatred and extremism is flourishing. So when we talk as communicators about virtues like of tolerance, we are touching a hot button with our global consumers in the world. Actually, coming back to Dubai and the Gulf, they are starting giving us the first example of tolerance, which is, as you know, the visit of the Pope and his meeting with the Mufti. So they are giving a vivid expression of what it means today to act, to be tolerant. So coming to us, what I would think of is if we want to salvage our industry, our industry at large, I think that we need to create a protocol whereby the DNA of what we do should be tolerance. Anyone can pick up tolerance the way he wants. Anyone can pick up an angle of tolerance and ask the brand that he is handling, listen, we have a common platform for all advertising agencies, all communication networks. We need to inject in all our messages, message of tolerance. The power of what we will be doing will be so impactful on global population that would have been instrumental to change the way people think, feel, and behave. That can give to the industry a new aura and a new fame, which we have been seeing eroding slowly with the rise of the digital companies. So I would say that it should be the main fuel of our reinvented industry. And again, don't think that this is only visionary or idealistic. This can bring you very much to business opportunities. Because when you apply tolerance in everything you do, you will see that whether if you are a designer or a cinematographer or a caterer or a writer or a musician, accepting the idiosyncrasies of others and taking them and being tolerant and associating with them can give you a very high return of your investment. So tolerance is not just a virtue thing. It becomes, from a marketing point of view, something that can have a return on investment on what you're doing. So that's the message. And here I have a very good example for you, which is the series Fawda. I don't know who saw it. Fawda is a very violent series. It talks about terrorism between Israelis and Palestinians. So it's tough as a thing. But at the end of the day, I would say there is tolerance in it. Why? Because they give a chance to everyone to express himself. So the enemy in this series is not always the enemy. So the series helps you discovering that we are looking at the other on the human side, and we are boosting his humanity as much as we are doing ours. So I mentioned this one because it's very specific of giving you, in an extreme case, how even in violent movies about anti-terrorism, for instance, you can inject a spirit of tolerance, and that makes it more successful. So I'm throwing this challenge now to our community. So tolerance and creativity today are one of the things that we think we should start thinking of in order to boost it and make it something that people love and adopt and buy share of heart. To give you an example, rather than just talking, brand Lebanon, which is a very ailing, very poor brand, wanted to do something about themselves. So we created a solution for Brand Lebanon through this execution. And it will tell you more than what I'm saying. It will illustrate more what I'm trying to say.
Let's play the video. Maybe it needs another round of applause for the video to play.
Movie.
Maybe that works.
Wait. There is a movie coming.
Harmony and conflict. The legend says that the region we call biblical witnessed the clash of gods with man's arrogance.
Everyone on Earth spoke the same language. People decided to build a city and a tower with its top in the sky to get closer to God.
Seeing this, God decided to punish them for their vanity and confused their speech and scattered them around the world. But from the same biblical land came also the story of unifying people.
The Phoenicians, who invented a way to reunite humans and ease their communication, the alphabet.
The alphabet prospered and civilizations were built, but disharmony between people remained. So this is also the story of conflict.
A world that no longer tolerates the other, where hate seems to rule.
And this is what we want to change.
Once a weapon of trade, let's turn the alphabet into a weapon of unity.
And let's do it with the one form that can transcend all conflicts: art.
If you are a graffiti artist, befriend a tagger from a different continent to create a unique mural.
If you are a painter, mix your colors with another painter from another part of the world and craft a new piece of art.
If you are a writer, join your letters with someone else's and create a new semantic. Our project gathers all kinds of artists from different parts of the globe.
Together, they will create joint pieces of art that will become ambassadors of tolerance. They will travel the world in international galleries, telling a different story coming out from our region.
And the most original piece of art, the one that carries best the message of dialogue, will be rewarded by an international jury.
This one-of-a-kind yearly initiative will kick off in Lebanon in 2017.
All pieces of art presented will form the first outdoor Dialogue of Alphabets exhibition.
So let's start. Only together we can put art at the service of dialogue.
One example. Yeah. So all what I'm saying is in the book that you are invited to take. It's an offer. It talks about all what I said on a wider scale, not only communication. So it picks up all the examples that I'm talking about. Actually, another book came very luckily in the same time, which again was written by Honorary, which showed 21 lessons for the 21st century. It's a hard book. I mean, it's hard. When you read it, you're gonna be very much afraid. No, I mean, it's very challenging. What I talk about in my book, in my version, is milder, because he is a scientist and I'm a creative. So I'm a little bit more human, although talking about the same thing, but being a creative, I cannot stop selling dreams. So the book would be optimistic, so I can guarantee that. If you are depressed of reading the other one, read mine, and I think you will have a gush of optimism when you read it. So thank you for your attention, and hope that you will start adopting tolerance as one of our key things. Thank you.
I think he deserves a bigger round of applause than that, Mr. Farid Chehab. Thank you so much, sir. That was really amazing.